Right guys, welcome back. Doing YouTube again. I need to be more consistent, don't I? I do apologise. I have no excuse really other than I'm busy, which isn't a good enough excuse because I can manage my time better, I can fit it in. So I really do apologise. This is a deep, meaningful apology. I will become more consistent with YouTube. I have a new car as well. If people maybe you can't really recognise from this shot. But yeah, upgraded my car because my last car basically just went out on me on the way to the gym. I managed to like roll it to a garage. Well, I didn't roll it, I could drive it, but just it was struggling. So yeah, since the last time I did YouTube, I got a new car, which is exciting. Other than that, not much is different. I'm heavier, a bit stronger, hopefully got a bit more muscle. But that's about it really. So today's going to be a leg session at Ultraflex. Me and Reese have recently changed our split. Well, we haven't actually changed the split, we've just changed the days around. So Monday is now going to be at Warehouse, Wednesday, Thursday is at Ultraflex, and then Saturday is still at Evo. So it hasn't changed drastically. Basically just means that we get 2 sessions in Ultraflex rather than just the one, which can only really be a good thing in terms of using the equipment. Today's the Cybex hack day. Went pretty well last week as the first time on it. Went a bit tentative, ended up getting 15 or 16 reps. I think I got 15 reps. So I'll be going heavier on that today. But yeah, I'll take you through the session. That is generally an update on me. There's not too much else to cover. But I will, and I don't want to promise this, but I guess I will promise, because then I'll hold myself to it. I do promise that I will become a little bit more consistent with the videos. Okay then guys, so let's go through the leg session. So like I said in the intro, 2 sessions a week now at Ultraflex. One of them is push, which is actually on the Wednesday, so the day before this session. I will do a video on that at some point, likely in the near future. And then this is the other session, the second session at Ultraflex, which is legs. So I start off with calves. I'm not going to go through every exercise in sort of meticulous detail, go through every intricacy. I generally do that on my story on Instagram. So if you don't follow me on Instagram and you want to see sort of the breakdown of every session, then follow me, have a look at my stories, because it'll be on there most of the time. So yeah, I'm starting with calves generally because they're a weak area, and I can't just keep saying they're a weak area without trying to do anything about it. So I'm training them as the first exercise on leg days to try and train them when they're fresher and get more out of them. Then onto the gym shop adductor. So I've been nursing a little bit of a adductor issue recently. I think it's just a micro tear. I tend to get them quite a lot. We've got quite a lot of small muscles within the adductors. They're not just one big muscle called the adductor. We've got sort of 4 different muscles that make up the adductor group. So generally, it's quite easy to get little tweaks here and there. What I try and do to prevent that is pause in both ends of the rep, control the changes of direction, spend time in both ends of the rep as well. Like with those pauses, it's not just to control that change, but it's also to make the set more difficult with a lighter load, making the most out of the least. But generally it is feeling a lot better. Like I haven't been able to take it to true failure recently because of it, but I actually could in yesterday's session, so that was good. Then on to the prime seated hamstring curl. It's the first time I've done this in shorts. It hurts enough as it is in trousers. I don't know why. It's like it just really, it's not painful, like really. It's just aggravating on the hamstrings. Like me and Reese have both had bruises from it, so it's not ideal. But yeah, I'm generally loading this in the mid-range and spending time in the short-arm position. I've kind of worked out that feels best for me. If you load it solely in the end range, it just feels incredible. Obviously it's incredibly heavy there, but it's so easy throughout pretty much all of the movement, and more often than not you won't even get it fully short because it's that heavy there. So it's like, what's the point in loading it in the end range if you're not really getting there? So yeah, loading it in the mid, and then onto the leg extension, which to be fair feels really good loaded in the end range, so loaded at the top, and also spending time there generally to obviously get more out of the quads and the hamstrings both while they're fresh at the start of the session, spending time in that shortened position because the muscle is going to be in a better position to do so at the start of the session to get that muscle fully contracted. When we're fresher, it's going to be in a better position to do so that's why we do that. Then onto the hack squat. So unfortunately my hack squat set didn't film because I didn't check my camera storage, so it's my own fault. It's not really unfortunate, is it? It's just your own fault. So yeah, not ideal. Another thing, not ideal. I need to stop saying that. So yeah, basically Reese did a set. I also did a set, I just didn't film. But yeah, on the hack, just the one set. We've been working this up. We both did 3.5. now onto 375. I mean, it's nothing impressive on the Cybex hack, but for anyone that's used it will know it is a difficult hack. It is heavy in the bottom. We've got no reverse band on it. We're just trying to work up our general strength. It's not as if like a reverse band would take away from it or anything like that, but I quite like, you know, sometimes on some movements, not overcomplicating things, just work to get strong at it. And generally the resistance profile still feels pretty good. It's not as if I don't feel like my quads are taken to failure on it. And then onto the hammer strength leg press, we actually top band this. You can see the bands there, so they're adding tension as we go into more of a shortened position, as the torque on the knee reduces. Again, just one set here, so it was one set as a drop set on the calves, 2 set on both the hamstring curl and on the leg extension, and then onto one on the hack, 1 on the leg press, 1 on the Nautilus glute drive, which you can see now. So with my foot position, I've been playing around with it recently. What I would say for people is generally find where feels good for you, but from a physiological standpoint, from a biomechanics standpoint, generally we want the feet quite low and close together on the platform so that the shins are pretty much vertical at the top of the rep, and then you want to drop into the depth of the rep wants to be pretty much as low as you can go without the knees shifting too much. If your knees start to travel a lot, you're going to get a lot more quad out of it, and generally that's not what we're trying to do. You don't want your quads burning at the end of the set when you're trying to focus on training your glutes. Just mentally it takes you away from where you're trying to target. So 1 set on there. Then I do a little bit more hamstring volume. They're a weak point of mine, so I jump on the prone prime hamstring curl after doing the seated. This time it's loaded in the end range, or the beginning range, sorry. So we load it at the beginning, basically when my legs are extended, when my knees are extended, so at the bottom of the rep. We're loading it there because, you know, as I spoke about earlier, at the start of the session, we're in a better position to get the muscle fully short. Right now, you know, towards the end of the session, the hamstring's going to be a little bit more fatigued. Even after the glute drive, they get a little bit of stimulus there. So we're loading it more so in the lengthened position, trying to rinse it through that range as well. And I also do partials and an ISO hold at the end of that, which is horrendously painful. But yeah, I'm trying to bring the hamstrings up, so doing things that cause pain and making sure that I'm trying to nail it form wise and doing things that I've not done before is going to help in terms of bringing them up. Then even more calves, not as if I did a lot, I did a drop set at the start. This was actually a rest pause set, so another intensifier on calves, and what you'll see is I go into an intra-set stretch. So basically when I do the rest pauses, instead of just resting, I go into a stretch, just to get the potential benefits of stretching the muscle under a bit of load. Obviously I'm not actually, you know, using any external load, I'm just placing my body into a position to stretch them out, and it actually helps in terms of the connection as well for me. And then just finish off with abs. I don't do any arms or side delts at the end of this session like we often do in other sessions, just because it's brutal enough as it is, and in the heat yesterday it was pretty vile, so we didn't really fancy doing anything more than we had to. At the minute, for people in England, they'll know, like, I'm not going to complain, it's hot, we need to get used to it, but because we're not used to it here, people tend to struggle. I've had a lot of people moaning in check-ins, and to be fair, I've been moaning myself a lot as well. I must admit, it has been pretty tough. We've been struggling over it. So I thought what I'd do, just to wrap up the video, just show a little bit of where I'm at now versus where I was basically at the end of prep. So the photos that you'll see on the screen are a comparison of the night before the show. So that'll have been like 8 months ago, October till January, so 9 months ago, I believe, which is crazy to think. Actually, I don't know if that's right. The 10th till the 7th, yeah, 9 months. That's pretty crazy. It doesn't feel like that long. So yeah, October time, like, it was like, was it the 17th, 18th weekend of October, and then obviously to now, which is like the 23rd of July that I'm filming this, so about 9 months. So you can see the progress there in terms of where I'm at. Obviously, you know, I'm not quite as lean as I was on the left. There's a good amount of body fat being gained, but hopefully as well, like I said at the start, a good amount of muscle. I definitely think I have, you know, I'm a lot stronger on a lot of movements. My training is a hell of a lot better than it was. My nutrition is a lot better than it was. My routine is a lot better than it was. So I definitely do think that I will have built a good amount of tissue so far. So I'm now 200 pounds those photos I was about 166, so it's about 34 pounds up on the right versus the left, and generally in a good spot. Happy with where I'm at. Body weight has been pretty much holding around 200 over the past month or so. Not really feeling like it's too necessary to push aggressively from here. Happy to kind of hold before, you know, I'm in a position where I think I can push on again, and even if I do push now, it'll be a lot slower than it was, you know, initially. Coming out of prep, it was a pretty rapid sort of rate of gain, you know, gaining from 166 to about 180 within the first few weeks. Really, 180 to 190 was a fair amount slower than that. 190 to 195 was slower again, and then from 195 to 200, it's been really slow. And now I'm pretty much holding here. Like I say, don't really feel like there's going to be much benefit to trying to push up too much right now. I'm a fan of like holding phases, you know, as opposed to more frequent diet phases. I'd much rather do, let's say, a 2 to 3 year off season and maybe diet once, maybe twice, but have numerous holding phases, rather than have to diet 6 to 8 times like some people would, you know, maybe gain for 3, 4, 5 months and then a quick mini cut and then again, then a mini cut. Like, I'd much rather just go through holding phases to spend less time in a deficit, basically. So yeah, that is generally where I'm at. I will leave the video there. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. Like I said at the start, I will, I promised, didn't I? So I definitely will be doing more frequent videos, at least once a week. Generally, I'll try and think about some other things. I don't just want it to be sort of, here's my training and talking through the session, because, you know, it's been done numerous times. Like, I've done it loads of times. I talk about it all on my story. So any suggestions, anything you want to see, let me know. I'll definitely do some sort of day in the life and full day of eating at some point soon, because I'm on obviously a lot more food than I was last time I've done one of those. But yeah, I'll think of some different videos and generally try and produce some more educational content outside of just, you know, here's my training, this is what I'm doing and why. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Appreciate everybody watching. If you could like and subscribe, that'd be massively appreciated, and I will catch you all in the next video. Cheers, guys.